minutes after the hour of 12 noon. What a show we've got for you today. Okay, let's get right down to business. Today's question. What I want to do today, this is going to be great. You guys are going to love this. I worked all morning on this one. Well, the truth of the matter is I worked all weekend on it. If you have any weird neighbors, I want you to call me up and tell me about them. Isn't that great? Hey! Oh, God, we're going to get the ratings with that one. If you have any weird neighbors, I want you to call me up and tell... What? Who did it earlier? You're kidding me. That new guy, Fred Hardley? He did it earlier today? Oh, God. Oh, okay. Well, hey, don't worry about it. I've got a fallback position. I have a fallback position. So forget the weird neighbors. If you think that criminals should be punished, I want you to call me up and You're kidding me. He did that too? Oh, God, we're in trouble. I mean, we're really... He asked people if they think that criminals should... Oh, shoot. Ooh. I mean, that's all I got. That's all I got today. Holy cow. Oh, this guy's really... Fred Hardley. He's really on the ball. Man, I don't know what to say. This is my material today. If you got weird neighbors, call me up and tell me about them. And do you think the criminals should be punished for criminal behavior? Whoa. Hi there, guys over at WPLP. How you doing? Glad to have you along this afternoon. We always look forward to your listening. Hell, I don't blame you. I wouldn't listen to the crap you're putting out either. 10 minutes after the hour of 12 noon. Enough of that, huh? Right on. I understand they're changing their call letters over there. WOLD. Won't even have to go out and buy a jingle package. Just, lift a few things off the record on that one. But nonetheless, that's not really why we're here, to tweak cheeks and tweak noses and tell it like it is. Hell no. We're here to have a good old time. As a matter of fact, I really do have a number of things I want to talk to you about. You see, I was watching television over the weekend, and there was George Bush right in my living room. I mean, I did everything I could possibly do to discourage him, but he kept coming into my living room to tell me about how I should elect him president because he and President Reagan have, he says that because of he and President Reagan, you know Ronald Reagan, Ronald Wilson Reagan, the big guy? Yeah, remember back in 1980, 1984? Yes, that one. George said, that because of he and Ronnie, the flag is respected all over the world. I don't know where he's getting this stuff from. Probably he's, getting it from Pat Robertson's writers or something. I don't know. But nonetheless, I saw that this weekend, and, I got to thinking about it, and I opened up my paper this morning, and holy cow, I mean, I want to tell you, if this is how they respect the flag all over the world. Well, nonetheless, I put together a little pop quiz. Basically, a little pop quiz based upon the news. You remember the news, don't you? Sure you do. Well, it seems that there are several things going on that might, might be a problem. Just might be a little itsy-bitsy problem for us. For example, over the weekend in Iran, in Tehran and another city, I can't remember the name of it, doesn't make any difference. Two different places in Iran, angry mobs of Iranians attacked the Russian embassy and a Russian consulate. Threw stones. Russians said that their lives were in jeopardy. And need I tell you that the Russians are just a little bit PO'd about this? I mean, they are just a wee tad PO'd about this. And so they called the Iranian ambassador in, and they spoke very unkindly to him. And even in the newspaper in TASS, they said some pretty darn strong things. And as we have always mused in this country, whenever they used to attack our embassies, we'd always say things like, boy, if they did that to the Russian embassies, boy, the Russians wouldn't take that stuff. Well, we are going to assume that all of you people have been saying this kind of these kind of things over the years. We're going to assume that you are right, and that the Russians aren't going to take this. They're just not going to put up with it. And I doubt very much that they will just quietly go home or something like that. They'll probably, do something. Like invade Iran. Hey, that sounds like fun. Guys always wanted to do that. Well, that brings up a rather ticklish problem for our respected American flag, wouldn't you think? It brings up a real problem. And, the best I can do is I can think of 3 alternatives that we would have if the Russians really get PO'd about this and just go marching into Iran. We could, are you ready? We could defend Iran. We could join with the Soviets and invade, become, Soviet allies. Or we could look the other way and just kind of, ignore it and, I don't know, talk about economic miracles or something like that. Or, how they ought to be posting the 10 Commandments in classrooms while, the Russians are invading Iran. Because they're about the only 3 things we could do. Join in with them, fight them off, in other words, join with the Iranians in defending Iran, or just kind of look the other way. So, here's question number 1. I told you a little pop quiz. The Soviets are really PO'd and they invade Iran. What do we do? Your 3 choices: defend Iran, join in with the Soviets, or look the other way. Question number 2. Israel. All of you anti-Semites out there say you never get a chance to talk about what's going on in Israel. Well, here is your chance. Israel continues its policy of beating Palestinians in the occupied territories. Everybody's real unhappy about it. Literally, everybody's really unhappy about it. I sat down and thought of roughly 3 choices that we could do to stop this, to show our displeasure. We could cut off all financial aid to Israel. Or we could invade Israel. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? Invade. Boy, people love invasions. Or we could look the other way. That's question number 2. Israel continues its policy of beating Palestinians in the occupied territories the other way. Question number 3. Only 3 in this one, don't worry. We have General Noriega down there in Panama, and he sure is a pain in the neck, isn't he? I do declare. Why, he is just a miserable old SOB. And he won't resign. I mean, holy cow, we've done everything we know how to make the guy resign. We've, put bad articles about him in the newspaper, stopped buying drugs from him, all kinds of stuff like that. Cut off his CIA money. Holy cow. Well, what are we going to do with bad old General Noriega and Panama? Again, basically 3 choices. Number 1. I knew you'd love this one. Invade Panama. Oh, boy, 3 invasions at once. Wouldn't that be neat? Option number 2. Fund some type of insurgency. In other words, fund a guerrilla war to oust him militarily. We'd keep our hands clean. We could find some Panamanian, what the hell could we call them? Panamanian, oh, God, what would be a clever, catchy name that would really, freedom fighters. Yeah, that's it, the Panamanian freedom fighters. Oh, that's a good one. People love that. It has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Or, option number 3, we could look the other way. So here we have Noriega down there in Panama, just won't resign. Oh, I tell you, it's enough to keep you awake at night, isn't it? What do we do about it? Invade Panama, fund the Panamanian freedom fighters, or look the other way? Okay, that's your pop quiz for today. I'll quickly review it with you. Russia gets really PO'd and invades Iran. What do we do? Israel continues its policy of beating Palestinians in the occupied territories. What do we do? And Noriega won't resign in Panama. What do we do? Well, we start out by giving you Friday night about 9:30. I'm sitting at home in my Van Ortner ding-a-lings. And so I walked over to the Van Ortner and I picked it up and I said, hello. I try to do that to discourage people from calling me. And lo and behold, on the other end of the line, you wouldn't believe who it was. You wouldn't believe who it was. It was Richard Drop My Pants Shanks. And he said, I'm serious. Called me at home. A gall of a jerk. Anyway, he said, excuse me, I have to get into character for this. Pinch my nose.
Hello, Bob?
I said, yeah?
So this is Richard Drop Your Pants Shanks.
Well, actually, he didn't say drop your pants, but he did say Richard Shanks. And I said, yeah, what do you want? And he said,
well, Bob, I know you're interested in accuracy in the media.
I don't know where the hell he got that idea from. And further, he went on to say, and this is the great part. I loved this, and I swear to you, I am quoting. He said,
I tried to call your show, but the lines are always so busy I couldn't get through.
He truly said that to me. I swear to you, he said that. It's also true anyway, but that's besides the point. And he went on to say that he had heard on tape, Richard has somebody tape my show every day, and then he goes home and listens to it. He said, I heard on tape where you said on your show Friday that we weren't going to be controversial over here at WOLD. That's not what I said at all. What I said was, while you were on the air saying how controversial you were going to be, the staff was being told at the exact same time in a staff meeting that you guys weren't going to be controversial. And he said, oh, well, I just wanted to set the record straight. And I said, thank you, and hung up. But that is a true story. Couldn't get through. The lines are always so busy. Want to call Shank Show and see if the lines are open now? Nah, that's okay. We won't do that. 9-9. Russia gets PO'd and invades Iran. What do we do?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think what I would do and what the administration would do would look the other way.
Look the other way.
They're afraid of Russia.
Okay. Number 2. Israel continues its policy of beating the Palestinians in the occupied territories. What do we do?
Okay, my choice was one that you didn't have, or you did have, I'm sorry, cut off the funds.
But I think
that the government will just look the other way.
And number 3, Noriega won't resign in Panama. What do we do?
Well, Bob, again, you see, now this one here, I've picked something different, which is what we're doing, restricting the finances through the banks. But I think what the long-term idea for the United States government will be is to invade so that they can...
I didn't ask you what you think they're going to do. I want to know what you want to do.
Oh, well, what I want to do, I want to just restrict their funds, but...
In other words, look the other way.
Well, no, I think that the funds that they're doing right now, I think things are going to break down. It's going to give them a chance to really see how bad Noriega is being for them.
You don't want to fund the Panamanian freedom fighters.
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Come on, we're running out of freedom fighters to fund
here. This is true. Well, I was thinking maybe, just fund the Contras a little bit more and have them run down there and maybe try and help us out down there.
Okay, by the way, cutting off the funds in Israel is going to have the long-term effect of stabilizing the Middle East even more.
Well, what can I say, Those were my choices.
Okay, Richard, I thank you very much.
All right.
Jim in St. Petersburg. Hi there, Jim. You're on the air at WFLA.
Hello, Don.
Don?
Can you hear me?
Don who?
Well, I thought your first name was Don.
No, it's Bob. Bob, yes.
Okay, Bob. I'm in Clearwater, not St. Petersburg.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what up?
Carolyn in Newport Richie. I can hardly wait for this one. Hi there, Carolyn.
Hi, Mad Dog. I love your questions. They're so Socratic and facetious.
Well, no, they're not. These are all things that we have to deal with.
Oh, perhaps.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, your first question is to what we would do if the Soviet Union invaded Iran.
That's right. Soviets getting real PO'd about this over there.
First of all, the question is facetious because the Soviet Union is much too sophisticated to invade Iran. Do you disagree?
No.
All right.
But nor do I agree. I don't know what the hell they do. I know they're really getting a little ticked off.
Oh, I know. But Islamic fundamentalism is as much an integral threat to the Soviet Union as it is in surrounding.
Exactly. It might be a real nice sign to those people in the southern part of the Soviet Union.
Right. So what we ought to do and what we probably would do are two different things. What we ought to do is let them alone. But what we probably would do in this country is to side with the Soviet Union. And we would involve ourselves in World War III.
Lily-livered liberal that you are, you say, look the other way.
Yes,
Poor Iranians getting killed left and right by commie bullets. You're going to look the other way. I should have known.
You should have known.
Question number 2. Israel continues its policy of beating the Palestinians in the occupied territories. What do we do to make them stop?
We cannot make them stop that. So that's a facetious question. What we ought to do is to understand that our foreign policy vis-a-vis Israel and the Arabic countries, the Palestinians, and etc., is wrong. We have never been strong in our foreign policy regarding what we will tolerate and what we won't. So we must tell Israel that while we may support them morally, we no longer wish to support them monetarily so long as we are appalled by their treatment of the Palestinians.
Cut off the bucks. Well,
that right?
Just might be that sends a signal to the rest of the Arab world, and they start another Israeli war. What do you do then?
Oh, I think
give back the money?
I think that our cutting off funds to Israel, so long as they continue these policies, will have little or no effect on the rest of the Arab world vis-a-vis Israel.
Oh, not next week, but maybe in about 4, 5, 6 months when it really starts to hurt.
Oh, I think not, because I think the rest of the Arab world has never shown moral support in great numbers for the Palestinians. Tell me an Arab nation who...
No, but it's a great excuse. It's a great excuse. Here's Israel down financially. Would put us in a hell of a position.
Oh, I think not. No, I disagree with you. I think the question is facetious, and the answer is that Noriega. Noriega only recently, Bob, became an embarrassment to this country, just as the Shah of Iran only in his last days became an embarrassment to us. So what I think the best solution for us to do is to exert, the least we can do, is to exert on the Noriega Panamanian government some kind of economic sanctions.
In other words, look the other way.
No constructive engagement.
You don't want to fund the Panamanian freedom fighters or something like that.
Oh, are you kidding? You must be equating that with the Contras. Look where that got us. Oh, you see.
What do you mean? Look where it got us. It gave guys like Ollie North and some of his other friends work for years.
Sure. And what a crock all of that is. And you know something? We have a man who's running for the presidency, George Bush, who is in that up to his aristocratic neck.
Ballot
box. Did I
box.
Clean that up?
Up to his ballot box.
Okay. And if people vote for him, knowing this about him and assuming that as an ex-CIA, I mean, Bush knew about Allende in Chile.
What are you talking about if people knew? There are guys in this country that went to the dentist and had their teeth separated so they could look like Ollie North.
I know that. But, you see, that your questions are based, I know what you're doing because I know your mind. And so those are my answers, and you can take them or leave them. But I think your questions are intriguing.
Well, not only are they intriguing, but they're also quite valid.
Of course they're valid, because we may have to face one, if not all of the three questions you asked. Certainly we're going to have to face Noriega.
We're facing two of them right now, for sure. The only one that is an if is the first one.
Exactly.
The Soviets invading Iran.
Your first one is iffy. That is, come off it. You know very well that the Soviet Union would never invade
I
Iran.
quite disagree. I quite disagree.
Do you think there's a possibility?
Especially with what is going on in the southern portion of the Soviet Union right now, it would send a nice message to those folks there about maybe you better behave yourselves, because if we'll go in and kick butt in Iran, we just might go in and kick butt in your province.
Oh, God, the Islamic fundamentalist movement is so widespread, not only in the Soviet Union and surrounding countries, but
where does it come from, Carolyn? Where is it centered right now?
I know where it's centered.
So do they.
And they know where it's centered, but that, you see, what they would be making a great tactical error, and I think they're smarter than that, because the Islamic fundamentalist movement has moved much beyond that.
Keep in mind that of the 7 people who answered, 2 of them said join with the Soviets, and the other 4 said look the other way.
I agree. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Look here, though. Don't you think he knew all the time that the CIA was paying him money, and he was also getting money from the...
Well, I think Ronald Reagan knew, too. I think Ronald Reagan knew, too, and probably...
Yeah, right.
And probably a number of members of Congress as well.
And what other thing Mr. Bush said the other day?
No, get off my phone, Jack. Hey, wait for the Bush bashing show. No. You're not going to change my poll here, Jack. Give me a break, huh?